Hey guys, welcome back to Off the Water. I'm your host, Darth Yacker. Joining me as always is my co-host and production engineer. Tonight, we'll call him production engineer, Tyler Caldwell. We've got a great show for you guys tonight. Joining us is going to be Terry Pham, who placed in the top 5 this past week at Ride the Bull. Terry's going to give us a rundown of what happened at the tournament, some of the techniques he used for his success. I hear popping corks came in pretty handy this weekend. Fishing in 60 foot of water. So we're going to talk to Terry about that. We're also got Tyler Caldwell is going to kind of bring us up to date and catch us up on some of the new items coming out in kayaks. There's been a lot of new developments coming out this year. Certainly, we've all heard about the new Hobie Pro Angler with the 360 drive, and they've got some other new items. Jackson's got some new things coming out. Native's got some new items coming out. So some new innovations to those kayaks. So Tyler's going to kind of fill us in on all that. Some new colors, I think, too. So looking forward to hearing some of that. But our main guest tonight is going to be Captain Eric Muhoberac with Louisiana Kayak Company. Eric is a local charter guide, longtime member of Bayou Coast Kayak Club, also longtime sponsor of the club. Eric's going to, fill us in on fishing down Highway 23, what's going on there right now. And maybe we'll take some questions from some of the audience tonight. Eric's been a lifelong Louisiana resident, got a wealth of knowledge about fishing down Highway 23. And we thought with Rumble on the River coming up and the falling tide coming up in the next 2 months, now would be a good time to start getting some information and maybe start planning your trip if you plan on fishing any of those tournaments. So before we get started tonight, we're going to start off with a little bit of sad news, but I thought it was appropriate to mention. We had a local fishing guide, Tofiel Bourgeois, who passed away 2 weeks ago. I don't know, or it's actually about a week and a half ago on a fishing trip. If you guys don't know Tofiel, he was a guide out of Lafitte, Louisiana, longtime fishing guide, very well known in Lafitte, actually well known throughout the state. He was a regular on Don Dubuque in the morning, Saturday mornings, and also he would appear on the Fish and Game Report at times. He was an avid fisherman, hunter. I know he did duck runs, but I think what he was really famous for was his trips out to the Chandeleur Islands, where he had a seaplane and would take anglers out on these trips. He would fly the seaplane out to the Chandeleur Islands and wade fishing for big trout and reds. Tofiel actually passed away, as I understand it, on a fishing trip when they were returning from the islands. The seaplane he was in crashed. Tofiel passed away. I believe the 2 passengers, as far as I understand, survived the trip. I don't think Tofiel was into kayak fishing, but he was such a well-known guide, and everyone you talked to really enjoyed being around him. He just a great guy. You could tell he loved what he did. Every time you'd hear him on Don Dubuque, he'd be up early in the morning, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning talking. Duck hunting, he really enjoyed. I used to watch his shows when he'd come on Don Dubuque on the Fish and Game Report and everything. And so I thought it'd be nice to do a little tribute to Tofiel, and certainly we express our condolences to his family. One thing we could say is he at least died doing what he loved to do. And I think any of us, if we had our choice, we would go out the same way. Eric, I know that you had actually met Tofiel before. I think I met him one time, but I listened to him a lot. And you always feel that you know him when you hear him every Saturday morning and you watch him on TV. It feels like this is somebody you know, even though you don't really have a close relationship. Tell us what you remember about Tofiel.
Well, man, I met him, I guess, back in 94, 95 or something. I was sponsored by a company called Old Bayside when I had the Bay Boat back then, and he was one of the guides also on it, and that's how we kind of met. And then I knew him. I wouldn't say I was buddies with him where I'd call him up or whatever. We had running each other out in the bayou where we had switched off. He had customers and I had customers, and I had my fish. I let him have it, and he did the same for me at Cat Island and Big Island, which islands aren't there anymore. But the thing about Tofiel is that he was truly one of the best ambassadors for the state of Louisiana. Being a fishing guide isn't just about how many fish can you pile up and kill. You have to be an ambassador because people come from around the world to come out with you. And he had that special little knack to where people to know him was to love him. You know what I mean? And he true Cajun coon ass boy, whatever you want to say. But you know, he had that special niche where he realized the whole game wasn't just about piling fish up. It was a whole adventure and showing and teaching people about Louisiana and things like that. And that's one of the things that I remember most about him. That he would, I guess you would call that a liaison, right? For
Yeah,
Louisiana.
yeah.
Yeah.
I hear he was a great storyteller, always very funny, and always kept his clients entertained. And I've been on good charter trips. I've been on bad charter trips. You know, and even on the bad ones, when you had a good captain, you mean you understand fishing's fishing. You can't always get on the fish as much as we like to, but the good charter captains always kept you entertained, even when the fish weren't biting or even when the fishing was slow. You know, so. We'd like to pay our respect to Tofiel, and again, our condolences to his family. So, well, look, let's get on. Let's, it's sad things. We have to recognize some things. But I know we're here to talk about fishing. And look, we had one of the largest kayak tournaments in the world take place last weekend. Ride the Bull down in Grand Isle. I'm not sure how many participants there were there. Terry, maybe you could fill us in on that. Do you know what we were looking at as far as the number of people that ended up registering for that tournament?
I believe it was right at about 700 people.
700 people, and they're all launching or basically in the same area over there by Bridgeside and fishing that Caminata Pass area, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And so you were one of those 700.
Yes.
Yes.
I was.
So how many Ride the Bulls have you fished?
This is my second year.
Your second year. So was last year your first one?
Yes.
How'd you do last year?
Not too good. Last year was kind of the learning year and try to kind of figure everything out, you know, how the whole system goes.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, the thing was, now you can launch at Bridgeside and Wakeside, which is the one right across the street, and they had all kind of confusion last year because I guess for the captain's meeting, you're supposed to be on land, but you understand you got 700 people. Not everybody could park their kayak and get on the land.
Right.
It's not enough room, So I hopped on and off 3 or 4 times trying to figure it out, and you wind up really not having to. You just had to kind of stage up in the area. It was just a whole lot of, and you do get a lot of wrong information listening to people and stuff there too. Because I feel like more than half people really don't know either, because you wind up having so many people there,
Yeah.
It's like you hear one person, oh, well, look, you're not supposed to do this. No, you're not supposed to do that. And,
Well, you get a lot of people out there. I know when I fished it, maybe half the people didn't know what they were doing, first time in a kayak, renting a kayak, going down just for the experience. It's a great experience, you get out there, there's food, there's drinks, and it's kind of a big party. A lot of people really enjoy going out there and hey, it's no big secret. Everybody knows what you got to do. You got to drop dead bait to the bottom and hopefully get lucky. Now, I mean, there are some techniques and some certainly some things you can do to improve your chances of winning. This year, though, you managed to finish in 5th place.
Yes.
So out of 700 people, how many bull reds were actually caught and weighed in?
I believe it was 25, and maybe half of that wasn't even really bull reds.
Really? So just regular redfish?
They were just regular redfish. I think they had 4-pound redfish weighed in.
So was your redfish a bull?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so what, 27 and a quarter? What were we looking at here?
No, I didn't get a measurement on him. I would say he was probably about 38 to 39 inches, maybe.
Oh, 38 to 30. That's a big red.
Give or take. He weighed in at 24.992 or something like that.
So, I mean, it was a good fight?
It was a good fight. It's definitely a hard fight because at the same time, you got to fight other people's anchors. You got to make sure, he don't wrap around your anchor. So it does take getting a little used to trying to figure everything out because you can't let him run too far because then he'll come and snag everybody else's anchor, then you wind up losing them.
Yeah. Now I know this is like one of the important questions. You were fishing out of a native, a Jackson. What kind of kayak were you fishing out of here?
A Hobie Pro Angler 14.
Oh, the big boy. The big
No,
boy.
not no more.
Not no.
Not no more. They got the 360 now.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. But they haven't actually. They're not actually on the market yet. No one's bought them yet. I know Francis keeps reminding me every day how his hasn't come in yet. So
it will be, though.
Yeah, his special order coming in. So did you fish under the bridge or did you fish over by the other pass?
I fished over by the other pass, and I guess from going last year, I mean, every pass has, both sides are going to have about 300 people, give or take, on each side.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just went and picked a spot that, because everybody kind of gets on a certain spot. And I kind of try to stay away from the crowd just a little bit. I feel like if a fish does swim through there, it'll make your odds a little better. Instead of you sitting next to literally, you're like five yards from 30 other kayaks. I mean, once somebody hooks up, it's going to be like, dude, it's going to be crazy, So yeah. There's a lot of risk, I guess, when you're fishing, especially in a crowd. But I pretty much just I picked a spot and I said, I'm going to sit here all day. I had a bite at, I'd say 10 o'clock. And I'm not really a live bait guy. And, man, he hit it, and I kind of rushed it. I sat there for 4 hours, not even a bite. And
anybody who's ever fished with you know that you're a dead shrimp under a popping cork kind of guy. So let's not fool anybody here. You ain't throwing out. I'm not a live bait kind of guy.
Well, look, that's dead shrimp, not live shrimp. Now
that's true. So, there's a different technique fishing with dead shrimp over live shrimp. It's a technique. So what were you using for bait?
Crab.
Crab. Was it live or dead or soft shell?
One I rigged up with a hole, and one I rigged up cracked.
Okay.
Just to kind of see what they like. And on one I was running a Carolina rig, and one I was running. It's a leader from a guy in Texas that makes it. His name is Leonard Dale from LD Quicksets, and it's a different type of leader. It keeps your bait off the ground about 3 or 4 inches instead of just sitting dead on the ground. So I guess it kind of makes it like it alive a little bit. He floats right off the ground, and both of my hits came off that setup. With the Carolina style, I did not get a bite on it.
Okay, so you get the bite on the live crab?
Yeah, on a live crab.
Did you? I know Todd Lewis did a YouTube video showing how to rig a live crab where you crack it and the juices are kind of flowing out and kind of chumming the water a little bit. Did you do that or?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
I just said I'm gonna throw this whole thing on there.
Did you take a hammer to them and beat them up a little bit? And
no,
so the juices would flow.
Whole thing.
Just the whole thing.
That broke off was the claws. I broke the claws off, and I just hooked them and just threw the whole thing out there.
How big of a crab was it?
I'd say they're about 4-inch crabs.
4-inch? Okay.
5, yeah.
Well, you were able to get them at Bridgeside or something like that, or what?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was.
And so he took it whole, huh?
Yep, took it whole.
Yeah. That's pretty good stuff. So then, your fish was about 29 pounds?
No, 24.9.
Oh, 24.9. Do you know what first place was?
First place was 26.8.
Oh, damn. So, I mean, no real big ones though. No 30, 40 pounders.
No, not this year. Surprisingly, there wasn't. I figured first place would have had at least a 35-pound fish.
Yeah, with 700 people fishing and only 25 reds being caught and weighed in, I mean that's not a very good percentage. Seemed a little slower this year than maybe prior years.
Yeah.
So I know they got rid of the cash prizes this year, so they were giving out just regular prizes. Tell us about all the goodies you won for fifth place.
Fifth place, I won. I believe it's a Wilderness Tarpon 12.
Mm-hmm.
Was the kayak. I won. It came with a Boondocks T-bone.
Now that wilderness kayak, that's a good kayak, though. I mean, I hear, that's for a paddle kayak. That's supposedly a pretty good kayak.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice kayak.
Yeah,
but that a T-bone,
a bed
Corrado,
extender.
Yeah, the bed extender.
The bed extender. Yeah, those are nice.
A Corrado K rod and reel. I guess you could say combo.
Mm-hmm.
A Marucci cooler bag or cooler backpack. A Marucci tackle bag.
Mm-hmm.
Some kind of like bed rack lock, like the kayak locks that you push together.
Oh, okay.
That and a wilderness live well.
Man, that sounds like it sounds about $2,000 or so of stuff you won.
Yeah, it was. I'd say it was around there, about $2,000.
That's great, man. That's great. What do you plan on doing with it? You gonna sell the PA and maybe switch over to the wilderness?
No. Everything pretty much is already called for already.
Yeah.
So, I really wanted to jump up a little higher, but look, sometimes I'd rather be lucky than good.
Man, look, 5th place in a crowd in a field of 700. I'd take that every day. If you could say, look, Sean, if you get 700, you take 5th place and not fish it. I mean, that's pretty damn good.
That's one of those tournaments where I think everybody that places is just lucky.
Oh, damn, Tyler.
What'd you say?
I think that's one of those tournaments where pretty much everybody that places is lucky. I mean, you got 700 lines in the water in the same place. So, I mean, you got to know a little bit about rigging and what you're doing. But for the most part, it's whoever's line this fish swims past and decides to eat.
Pretty much, that's pretty much it. Like I say, I caught my fish at I think 12:30, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take my chances on that fish. I knew it was a decent fish. I said, I'm gonna take my chances on it, and I mean, all I had was like an hour and a half left, so I was like, why even try to upgrade? Sometimes I guess a fish when you get that big, it's hard to upgrade. At the same time,
it is, especially with so few fish being caught.
Yeah.
So did how many places did they end up playing out? Do you know?
10 places.
Okay.
It was 10 places.
That didn't seem very much when you got 700 people signing up.
No, it's not.
Jeez, man.
Yeah,
I think we put out more than that at Paddlepalooza.
They do like team, like you can do like a team. The team that catches the most fish, you win this year. I think you won some rods and reels. I think that's about the only other one they did.
Okay. Well, look, man, we appreciate you sharing that information with us. You plan on fishing it next year?
I do.
Yeah.
It's a fun tournament. You go out there. I mean, and that's one of those tournaments where if you want to get drunk, you can sit there and get drunk and still bring home $1,000. Or $5,000.
You don't condone drinking on kayaks in the Caminata Pass.
Dude, you can get drunk in that tournament and still take a prize home. So it's just for fun.
Look, man, sitting in a kayak in August with 95-degree heat is not wine drinking weather. Let me tell you what, that just wouldn't suit me very good. Tyler, is that bourbon drinking weather, you think?
Maybe beer.
Maybe like Mick Ultra, Coors Light, something like that.
Yeah, nothing too heavy.
Yeah, I think as soon as it goes in you, it's coming out of you with that heat out there.
Look,
but
Sean,
Terry,
if you had a pro angler, you either sit back with your wine glass and just relax and just wait.
Yeah,
that's it. You see, in the Outback, you can't sit back that good.
God, I hope the Coast Guard's not watching this. Again, Todd Lewis is sitting in his chair thinking, this is not right. We can't have people doing this. But you wouldn't do that at Bayou Coast tournament. I mean, not.
No.
I don't think we can do that, right, Tyler?
No.
I think you have to. Pretty sure you have to be sober at the weigh-in.
Oh,
so just keep that in mind. Now, at the weigh-in, Fallen Tide, Paddlepalooza, we're all having a few drinks. We're not going anywhere. It's all good. But definitely after the tournament. So, Terry, look, man, thanks for coming on tonight, kind of filling us in. You are more than welcome to stick around if you want. We're going to jump over to Tyler Caldwell real quick. Tyler, I know we were talking earlier. There's all kinds of things coming out. I know Brock over at Outback's been posting some things. I know you've been sharing some things on Facebook with what's that kayak you use again? I forget.
Native.
I'm sorry. No, really, that was my fault. I had a brain freeze.
I thought he was using a Hobie.
No. He's like, I tell you what. Ever since that 360 come out, he's like, I don't know, man. I really like that 360 feature. So, but no, Tyler's got a Native, and it's really cool. The Native kayaks are really nice. He's trying to convince me to use one when we go down to fish Gunnersville for the Native. What is it? The name Titan tournament? The Titan
Tournament of Titans.
Tournament of Titans. Yeah. So I don't know. I might go down there and beat everybody in my Outback. So we'll have to see.
There you go.
But we'll see what happens.
Hey man, they got a nice bonus for people fishing the Native. That's all I'm saying.
They do. That's the only thing that's got me.
Can't switch to Con. Don't switch to the dark side.
I'm not. So Tyler, tell us a little bit about some of the great things coming out. I know. I don't know where you want to start. So take the lead wherever you want to go. Hobie, Native, Jackson, all kinds of great things.
All right. So Eric, cut me off if I get anything wrong here. But so there's a big paddle sports retailer show going on right now in Oklahoma. It's kind of the ICAST of the paddle sports world. So this is kayak fishing, whitewater, just anything paddle sports. But this is always the show where Native usually drops their bigger new releases for the year. Hobie has announced a few things. So they, as you know, they got the 360 Pro Angler coming out. With that at ICAST, they introduced a new color. It's kind of a blue camo water looking color. I think today or yesterday at Paddle Sport Retailer, they also announced a new Amazon green camo, pretty cool looking color. That'll also be available on the Pro Angler 360, I believe. Let's see, they have released a new Hobie Passport 12, which I think is a very affordable entry-level type pedal drive kayak, lightweight, just pretty basic when it comes to features, but just a nice price point for people wanting to get into a pedal drive.
Is it a 12 or a 10 foot? Because
maybe it's the 10. I thought it was a 12.
No, they got the 10 and then they got the 12. They just came out with the 12.
Oh, okay.
12 has more features than the 10.
Yeah, because I saw the 10 when I was over there, and I was like, well, that's a cute little kayak, especially you got kids or, for small.
Well, I've seen a guy 240 pounds in it standing up. I got pictures of him standing up in it at one of the demo days at Masters. Wow. In the 10 foot. I haven't seen the 12 foot, but that's, like Tyler's saying, for somebody getting into the beginning of the kayak, that's going to be a good boat around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As far as affordability, working guy, for affordability of getting it, a pedal drive. That's what I'm thinking.
I was thinking even for guys like you, Eric, just adding some extra pedal drives to your fleet for guided trips.
Honestly, I thought about doing it with the smaller boat, putting it in there, because usually the customers aren't carrying anything. I got the ice chest and the tackle and everything else in my boat. And I actually looked at them and still was thinking about them. Now the 12's coming out because, I'm getting a little bit older. The boats are heavy. It doesn't matter which brand it is. They all getting heavier,
You're right. So, they are getting heavier.
So Hobie also released at ICAST, as y'all know, we talked about the 360 drive. They also have the Kick Up Fin new feature, which is pretty cool. I think it's something they've been needing for a while, in my opinion. I know you Hobie guys had issues with bending rods, masts, and those fins when hitting things occasionally, and so now this will save y'all from going through that. I mean, it's a pretty cool feature. I think they're what they've announced now is that pretty much, I think most of their drives are going to come with this now.
I'll accept the Passport. I think it's going to come with it. Right. Anyone that's got the 180 drive is going to come with it, from my understanding.
And I tell you what, that's going to be a great feature because I've bet so many rods. When you pedaling down in your not as many recently with the newer drive, because I think the fins are a little bit shorter. It seems like anyway. But the older ones, you bend so many rods, and really it's hard to bend them back into shape without messing them up. And they're about $20 rods, so what Tyler and Eric are talking about on the Hobie Mirage drive, you basically have fins coming down that go like this rather than a propeller. I think obviously the Native and the Jackson are propeller driven. So the fins, when they hit something, if you're going fast and you hit something, the rod that's holding the fin in place will bend and make it very awkward. It'll affect the performance of the drive. So my understanding is that the new drive, I haven't seen it yet being demonstrated, but I'm really anxious to see it. So they just how do they work, Eric? They break up.
Fold up. If you're running into it, they just fold up. Like like you hit something and they fold up.
And then
so
when you start pedaling again, they flip back down.
Yeah, they fold up and flip back down.
Do you know how it's going to perform in some areas where there's like heavy grass? If it's going to be able to push through it or if they'll break away. I'm just not sure yet.
I'm not sure yet on that. I believe that you can adjust the breakaway point. Don't quote me on that. I think I read somewhere that you can adjust it to where it like certain amount of pounds to push it back, on it, but I don't see why grass would affect it that much. I mean, even if it did, it may help more because, with the old fins, you're going through the grass like this up against the hull anyway.
Yeah.
And sometimes it gets built up. Well, if they broke away, it might release that grass and it'll pop back up and you can keep going. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Fins,
I don't fish in grass anyway. I hate fishing in grass, but even the fishing is good. I hate going through it with that drive. But, you do what you have to do sometimes.
It's easy to go through with the drive. That's for sure. I don't know about a propeller.
Stab.
We talking about Highway 23 grass. Now we talking about Delacroix Reggio grass. You ain't going through that with the Mirage drive.
We go through it all.
Yeah. So Tyler, we got the new features coming out with the Hobie with the new colors and the breakaway drive. I heard a rumor that the 360 drive, I think it's available on the 14 foot now, but I think they may be putting it on the 12 foot as well.
That sounds like an Eric question. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know it's coming out on the PA 14 for sure. I have no idea about the 12.
I think I've seen where they are, where they're doing both of them. I think I seen it yesterday.
Yeah, I'd love to see them come in on the Outback, though. I mean, that's probably going to be something they do in 2 years when everybody goes, because everybody just bought a new Outback. So it's like, you can't buy a new one yet. We got to wait 2 years like the iPhone, you can't come out with all the great things.
Something about the Outbacks and the drive and the new drive, the one that folds back. I just read today that the new kickback drive will fit any drive that had the 180 drive in it.
Oh, wow.
So you'll be able to get the other drive. As far as getting parts and changing it over, there hasn't been anything said about that.
Yeah.
Because I think they had to re-engineer some stuff on it.
Probably have to get Brock on and talk about that.
Yeah.
So, Tyler, that's what's going on with Hobie. Tell us about what's going on with Native.
All right. So Native released a few boats. I'm just going to talk about the one that I'm most excited about, which is they've had a Native Slayer Propel and a couple different lengths that was a little popular back when it first came out and around down here, and it's just gotten a little. The hull had gotten a little outdated. It didn't have recessed transducer mount. It didn't have power pole mount. It just was kind of behind on the times, and so. Finally, they've updated it, and so it's a 12.5 foot. It's called the Slayer Propel Max. The Titans that they've had are real wide, heavy, stable platforms, but this is a little more sleek. It's going to be a little better for guys like us who are pulling in and out the water multiple times in tournaments. I think it's going to be a little better platform for the guys who like to go offshore. They also, with that, are releasing a new color called Gray Ghost, which is kind of like a gray camo-looking color. And then also they've let me put that picture up on the screen real quick. And then they've also released the new Propel drive of 701 series. It's basically some guys had figured out how to make a weed guard to go in between the prop and the drive itself, so to help, there was a gap there that when grass would get caught up on the prop, it would get up in that gap, and it made it a little tough to clear. And so there was an aftermarket part somebody came up with that really helped that, and I guess so many people were using it and complimenting it that Native took notice and has now incorporated that into the drive itself, so you no longer have to purchase that And then they've also added another common thing that a lot of people did was change out their pedals to something with a little more grip. Pretty much any standard bicycle pedal will fit that drive, and so now they're releasing these drives with a better style pedal that I think will suit more people. That covers that. Oh, and the new drives also have are going to start having a 5-year warranty. I think before it was only 2 or 3 years, so you'll have 5-year warranty on the drive.
So one of the great thing about the native kayaks, unlike the Hobies, where the Hobies you gotta reach down, you gotta pull the string, flip the fins around to go backwards. Basically, with the native, you just start pedaling backwards, right?
Yeah, that's. I mean, really, in my opinion, there's pros and cons to every boat, right? I mean, I really enjoy hands-free reverse, just being able to switch directions there. Just instantly, it's nice, especially when drifting a bank or something. You can kind of maintain your distance off the bank as the wind blows and pedal forward or pedal backwards. Or if you hook into a fish near the bank and you want to back out farther in open water, you can instantly pedal reverse. Just a nice feature to have.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a great selection of kayaks. I know when I was first looking at mine, I really liked the Native Slayer. I almost went that way. Ended up going with the Hobies. Just they seem to be more used down here. And so I was like, well, I'm buying my first kayak. I don't know what to get, or my second kayak at that point. And I went back and forth, ended up going with the Outback. But, I've seen you use that Slayer. It's a great kayak. They've got a good selection. I mean, they've got the bigger ones. I think the Titans are the bigger kayaks. And then they've got some mammoths out there. I know one of them, a pretty big boy. I forget, you owned one. What was it called?
Yeah,
was it the Titan?
It was the Titan 13.5. I mean, it was just a monster. Super.
It was a monster.
Wasn't bad once you got it on the water, but it was a little tough to move around.
Yeah. So tell us, do you know, is there anything new coming out with the Jackson kayaks?
Jackson's the only other one that I've heard of something released. I don't have the best picture of it. I'm going to post it up. It's the Jackson Bite that they came out with recently. It was a lower price point paddle kayak. They've now released the Jackson Bite FD. So it's a little bit lower price point pedal drive kayak with the flex. Is it the flex drive? That's what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a picture here. Like I said, it's not the best picture, but I did see on Jackson's Facebook page they posted a live video with Jameson Redding there in the booth at Paddle Sport Retailer with a nice walkthrough video. So you can go over to their Facebook page and check it out if you want to see more info on it.
Now, I know one of our officers, Chuck Mahan, actually uses the Jackson. He swears by it. They're coming out. I think the new drive is coming out. I think he just got it maybe, and it's supposed to be increasing the speed on it, I think is what he was telling us, that, we got another mile an hour out of it or something like that, which doesn't seem significant, but in the kayak world, it is. If you can go, from 3 to 4 or to 4 to half, that's a good bit faster. Another thing that he's been talking about that I haven't seen yet, but I'm really interested in looking at is they're coming out with, I think, a less expensive motor to fit. Do you know what it's called, Tyler? I forget what.
It's called the E-Drive, and what's neat about it is, you go out and buy a Torpedo or something like that. I think you're looking at, thousands.
About $2,000.
Yeah, thousands of dollars. And what's neat about the E-Drive from Jackson is you're basically using the pedal drive that you have in the kayak, and you're just taking the pedals off of the top of it and clipping the electric drive right into place. So all the propeller and the lower gears is all the same unit. So I want to say that E-Drive's somewhere between $500 and $600, compared to a couple $1,000 for a Torpedo.
So wait a minute. So that thing actually does the pedaling for you? I thought it was like a little motor you dropped in.
No, it's based. So the drive, the pedal drive is 2 pieces. So you can take the upper portion off of the boat completely that has the pedals, but the lower part, the propeller, stays in the boat at all times because it folds up right when you hit something.
Okay.
You can fold it up into the hull. So you can unclip the pedals and just clip on the electric drive, and it's the same propeller as whether you're pedaling.
Oh, wow!
Or
so I wouldn't be able to use it on my Outback.
No.
Oh.
No. It's just the upper portion that attaches to the drive. So it's basically doing the pedaling for you. Yeah.
So it does me no good, is what you're saying.
Right, unless you want to. Switch
Okay. Well, it's one of those things, you can't use them in tournaments. But I tell you, if you're scouting for one, or you want to go a little bit further out, certainly it sounds something that's pretty handy. If you're going 4 or 5 miles out and you're a little tired coming back in, and you just want to kick back and pull a Terry, I guess, and drink a beer and and just have that drive going and bring you in. Sounds like a pretty good deal. I have to check it out. I know Hobie's got I think they use some Torpedoes fit the Hobie real well. I know Matt Van out of Florida has one. I've seen him pulling another kayak behind it. Things got some power. They're expensive, but they've got a lot of power to them. So that'll be really interesting to see how that works out with the Jackson kayaks. Anything else we got out there that's coming up new?
That's it. That's all I had right now. I know the show's going on for a few more days, so we may see more things released, or there may be more things out there that I just haven't taken notice of.
And one of the great things about the kayaks, and it's not just Hobie or Native or Jackson, but you see all of these manufacturers that there are constantly updating their products. They're not just sitting back and letting their products ride. Hobie's going to sell its Outbacks, and yet it comes out with a better version of the Outback. Native is selling their kayaks, and they come out with a better version, fixing anything they can. It's an incredible process watching the evolution of these kayaks. When you go back to the old Outbacks when they first came out and looking at them now and seeing all the changes they've made to really, really make them more fishing friendly and just the innovations they're coming out with are great now with the 360 drive and being able to do circles, literally do circles while you're sitting still and pedaling is really incredible. So, look, we're going to take a quick break from one of our sponsors, and then we're going to be right back with Captain Eric Muhoberac of the Louisiana Kayak Company.
What's up, guys? It's Brock again from the Backpacker. Another cool product I wanted to highlight were the Smith sunglasses. These are what I personally wear every trip I'm out on the water. My personal choice is the guy's choice. They have a thicker frame on the sides. They block out a lot of side light, and they come with some really sweet lenses that are great for our waters down here. We got a lot of different styles in them. A couple of things that I like. They're very light, a lot lighter than a lot of the other glasses that I've tried. So they don't give you that pressing on your ears, on your nose, and what they do is they flex. So when you're wearing all day, you don't get that headache. They kind of form to your head, they fit around your hat. You don't have to worry about feeling uncomfortable with them.
And don't forget, be sure to visit us online at www.backpackeroutdoors.com or in one of our stores.
Hey, we're back. I forgot to mention that tonight's buzz is brought to me by Louis Martini Cabernet Sauvignon. It is a very good wine that I like to drink. Moderate price range, sometimes $15 to $20. They are not a club sponsor, but if they'd like to be, they can contact Aaron LaRose, and I'm sure he can get us set up with that.
Sounds like you're working on some free wine right now. You're trying to get some free wine for future.
I am working on club sponsors right now. It's just a constant project for me. We're gonna. I talked to somebody out there. There's a guy out there we're looking at maybe coming in and working at being the new club sponsor. And we were talking about some potential targets next year, potential sponsors. We're not naming names, but they make wings. And so we were talking about maybe seeing if they'd want to throw some gift cards and stuff our way. And something he said he'd be interested in working on if he comes aboard the club. But look, let's go on over now to Captain Eric Muhoberac with Louisiana Kayak Company. I've known Eric for probably about 4 or 5 years now when I first got in the club. He's been a longtime member of the club. He's also a club sponsor, offers discounts to club members if they want to do charter trips. Tyler, every day on the Facebook page, I see that I think we must be adding 2 or 3 people a day. I always see where people are coming in on Facebook and they have to get permission to join the Facebook page. I'm sure you see that as well as an officer. But I mean, what, 2 or 3 people a day?
Yeah,
think ask to join?
Maybe more than that.
Maybe more than that. So we're getting a lot of people coming in, wanting to learn kayak fishing, and they're always, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to fish. And look, it can be very discouraging when you're first learning. I know I was fortunate enough to have a couple of friends already in the sport, and I took many, many trips where I'd go out and not catch anything. I know when I bought my boat, first thing I did was, I think the very first or second trip I took out my boat, I hired a guide to help me learn an area. So look, and I was honest with him. So look, I'm wanting to learn. This is my boat. I'm wanting to learn areas. Can you teach me? I don't need honey holes, but teach me kind of what the areas are around here. Same thing with kayak fishing. One of the big things you want to do is where do I launch at? Because a lot of launches you're going to go to, it's a run and it's not suitable for kayaks. It's more suitable for boats. But there's a lot of great places out there you can launch that are much better for kayaks than for boats. And so one of those things that I recommend to people, and I've had people contact me and say, look, I want to learn this area. And I say, look, call up Captain Eric Muhoberac. This is his phone number. He guides down there. He can show you fishing kayaks. You can see how he rigs the kayaks. He can take you some areas and teach you some techniques for fishing redfish. And if you want to do a certain technique, I'm sure he'd be able to help you. So let's get over to Captain Eric. Eric, I've known you for about 4 or 5 years. I know you fished on Highway 23, and certainly we've drank a few beers together and clean fish together. But tell me a little bit about Eric, Mr. Muhoberac. Where are you from originally?
Oh, I'm kind of halfway in between Metairie and Empire, I guess you would say. Bucktown and Empire. How about that? That'd be the best way to do it. Family's grandfather, Croatian. Had always to camp out there in Bayou Schofield / Bay Crapo, which if you look on a map, it's no longer there. It's just nothing but open water.
Was he an oysterman, your grandfather?
He was an oysterman, yes. He used to fish oysters. So
there's something I think I've heard that a lot of the oystermen years ago were from Croatia for some reason. It seems like they had a large Croatian population down here that did oysters.
Most of them are from Croatia, or Yugoslavia back then, Croatia now, after the war, But, he was first generation Croatian. And that's kind of where I cut my teeth at. Pretty much one of my first memories is a boat wake, I guess you would say. Because I'd go down there and spend the entire summer, weekends, when I'd have problems in school. He'd take me down there and teach me how to work, without the fishing poles. But my first weekends. What's that?
I hated those weekends. My grandfather's camp, when he'd take me down there, he was down there at Lake Laurier at Myrtle Grove, and we'd go down there, and it's like, okay, we're going to be painting this weekend to camp. I'm like, I thought we were going fishing.
Yeah, no, that's not the way it works. But and actually, it's kind of funny because, I'm into the kayaks now, and how do you get into kayaks? Well, I'm sure a lot of the guys in the club or in the state of Louisiana. My first boat was an 8-foot Cypress pirogue, and then they actually gave me after that. My biggest boat was a 20-foot Cypress skiff that I'd start rowing, and I rowed and paddled and stuff like that. And I got a game fisher with a 9.9. It was on, but that's I guess I've been into paddle sports my whole entire life. I used to walk the marsh out there and catch fish with a cane pole when I was a baby. So it's kind of history. I've been down there so long, I've forgotten where most things used to be, I should say. And I just kind of started guiding, I think, back in '94. Kind of bounced around with the offshore stuff a little bit. Fell into the bay boats. Long story short, the big storm hit in 2006 and kind of fell out of that for, well, the reasons on what happened. And I lived in Port Safed behind where Siggs used to be. And
so you talking about Katrina, when Katrina hit?
Yeah, Katrina hit. And pretty much wiped me out. And long story short, a friend of mine who owns airboats ended up driving for him. And also doing swamp tours and stuff. And then me and him were goofing off one day down at the Delta Marina, and I can't remember who it was, who was the president and back then, but they had a sign up that said, kayak tournament, fish out of anything that you want. Well, me and him had pirogues, and we were like, man, we can fish that, we'll win. And we put the pirogues on top of a Polaris and rode up and down the levee and caught slams and ended up taking like second and third place or something like that. And that was back, I want to say that had to be 2006 or 2007, maybe later, maybe 2008. It's been so long, so many tournaments, so many people, it's hard to remember. But that's how I fell into it. And then somebody said, hey, man, you want to take me fishing? I'll pay you. And I was like, sure. Then somebody else did it. And next thing you know, I started taking people fishing kayak, and it was back to guiding fishing again. And, it comes second nature. Being a kayak guide, it's not as easy as people think because, it's easy for me to catch a fish. It's to get you to catch a fish. And when I take people out there, I stress on the fact that, hey, look, calm down first. You got a lot going on. let's get you one fish first, then we'll work on two.
Mm-hmm.
If I can get them to calm down and relax, that's a big thing to get them out there. So it's kind of about me a little bit. That's what I kind of do, kind of did, and that's how I kind of fell into it all.
We'll get to the fish a little bit. Let's learn a little bit more about Eric. I know you are a beer connoisseur. Every time I see you, you got a different kind of beer going on. You're going to the different places. You're trying out the different beers. So what's your favorite beer right now? What's going on in Eric's world with beer?
Homemade root beer right now.
Homemade root beer, but the alcoholic kind, the good kind. I know you and Tyler were talking beers earlier.
I'm kind of stuck in a rut right now. I'm on Jucifer and I'm on the Parish Brewing. Tyler's drinking a Pure Tropics right now. I drink that. The Ghost in the Machine. I can't get off of that. What else? The Bloom, the double dry hops. All Parish. But the Jucifer is mainly like my go-to, and kind of like those other beers are my special beers when I'm drinking.
Is there a favorite place you go to that brews their own beer that you like to go and have a drink at?
Any places that got beer is good for me. I'm not opposed. You got beer over at your house, I'll be at your house.
I do. I only have good wine though.
I
have a better wine selection than I do a beer selection.
I love me some red wine now.
Yes. Yeah. Wine. Now I know you're also a food connoisseur, and I see you're always cooking some really good looking food items on there. You're doing fish and you're doing some really good looking things. What kind of dishes? What are your specialties?
I don't know, man. I guess you'd call it French Creole fine dining mix. I was I don't know how else to say that. I worked in the restaurant industry for quite a few years before I started guiding.
So what's your favorite dish to cook, though? What's your favorite one?
I can make a kick-ass barbecue shrimp.
Really?
That I also do a good shrimp and grits and griots. I do mean jambalaya. I do some. How about a fettuccine? I can do a good fettuccine also. People rave about that.
Is your barbecue shrimp, is it the heavy Worcestershire or more like the white wine and butter sauce?
I could do both, but my specialty would be, I guess, Worcestershire based.
Worcestershire?
Really, it's butter based. Let's get down to the real truth. It's butter and garlic.
You cook a gumbo, right?
Oh yeah.
You got to cook a gumbo. White meat, dark meat. What do you use?
I use seafood. I don't know what y'all put
in
yours.
Okay. The white meat.
No, gumbo. If I'm cooking a gumbo like what you're talking about, with the chicken and andouille, I'd use most probably dark meat because.
You hear that, Sean?
Yeah. Well, because it's more flavorful, and in fact, any dish that I'm going to cook with chicken, like a jambalaya, if you do a chicken andouille jambalaya, I'm going to use dark meat. Because it's more flavorful than white meat, and white meat dries up on you really, really bad.
Y'all are cooking it too long. I'm cooking
it too long. Well, you're not cooking long enough.
Yeah, I'm gonna cook the white meat chicken too long. We're gonna see. We're gonna have the white meat
gumbo cook-off.
We're gonna have the white meat, dark meat gumbo cook-off at the championship. So that's all I'm saying about that. So we'll move on to the next topic. So Eric, I know you fish. You fish basically exclusively Highway 23, right?
I fish both sides of the river. It depends on how things are going. Lately, I've been fishing 23 there.
Yeah. You go from basically Myrtle Grove all the way down to Venice?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's my main run, This year, well, the water was up high, with the river, so it's kind of keeping me a little bit further north. Buras, Yellow Cotton area. Yellow Cotton is about as far as I would go south. And actually, I've been doing some really good fishing down that way in Yellow Cotton. And the tide, the river's dropping, so it's just getting better. Big spot that I've actually produced some great fish and some trout when nobody was catching any trout. And I'm not saying a lot of trout.
Yeah.
8, 10, 15, is actually the Freeport Sulphur right there behind the high school.
Really?
But not in the bay, down the canal. And I'll tell everybody, it's no secret. Go and get you a shrimp, like a DOA or what's the other one, Voodoo, or Gulp, and put it under. I was using, what was it one time? I used 2 corks. I used the Four Horsemen and I used the other, the Paradise Popper.
Yeah.
But depending on the wind, I'll change corks to a lemon cork or egg cork. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
if it's rougher water, think about your top waters. If it's calm, you want something to make a little bit of noise. If it's rougher water, you want something to make louder noise.
Okay.
So do the same with corks. You know, a lot of people overlook that. And I think sometimes with these loud corks, they're great. Don't get me wrong. They're all great corks. But sometimes with the loud popping corks in calm water, you may be actually hindering yourself into catching fish. But all I was doing was floating down the canal and hitting every little point I could. And sometimes you'd pick up one, sometimes you wouldn't get any, sometimes you'd pick up 3 or 4 off of that, right dead down the center of Freeport Canal.
So what size trout are you talking about? 14, 15 inches?
No, 18 inches, 16 to 18. Don't get me wrong, we'd catch 14s too, but decent fish. I was really kind of surprised. And now that storm blew in, I'm actually catching them in ponds too. Not like those numbers, but when we're fishing the redfish, we're picking up on some decent trout. 14, 16. Caught one that was 22 inches the other day in a pond, which is I don't even know why it was there. It was covered. The pond was covered in grass and it made no sense. He was there. That's all.
He was lost. Yeah.
He was lost something. But that's telling me that when the more this river drops, the better the trout are going to be. I see the guides in the boat that I base out of Happy Jack, basically. Where I base out of right at the lodge. I see Ash and Brad and Rodney and those guys coming in, and they're coming in with some gorgeous fish, and they have been coming in with some gorgeous fish. And I know they're running out further, but they're coming. Them fish are going to start coming in. The transition's most probably going to be, the end of the month through October. I figure October 2nd or so, things should really be turned around, and you'll start getting mixed bags of different fish. And I think we're going to have a crazy trout year this year.
And that's really good to hear, because I know last year we had a really tough year on trout last year, and most of the trout last year for falling tide, which is usually late October, so we're north. I mean, we were fishing way north to catch trout. There was no trout down south when you're getting close to Yellow Cotton Bay and in Venice and everything. But if you're catching trout that far north already right now in August, come October, especially if we get a nice cold front in, or something a little bit cooler temperatures start pushing those trout inside, that's really encouraging, because it's going to open up a lot of Highway 23 and give a lot more areas to fish for people to go and try to catch their slam this year.
Well, if the fishing, I've been killing it. I've absolutely been killing it with the clients, and that says a lot. When you got clients and you can catching 10, 12 fish a day. That's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
And, and I'm talking redfish. So the fishing has been phenomenal down that way. And the worst day I had, which wasn't even really a bad day, it was a guy and his son. And, they ended up catching 5 reds, 3 drumfish, and a sheephead. And, that wasn't a bad day. They still caught a nice mixture of fish.
That's a good bag to take home.
Yeah, it's a good bag to take home. Did they catch all their redfish? No, but that's fishing now. I can't control it all the time,
Mm-hmm.
I try like hell, but I know what to do. But right now, I'm on some great fish. I'm on some schooling reds with the tails and all that crazy stuff sticking out the water. I had a group. I haven't posted the pictures yet. I got to get on that tomorrow, I guess. A group from Australia. I think some of y'all met them at the Ride the Bull thing, if y'all went. And it was one of the beautiful things about being a guide, when you can take somebody and spot, 6 tails sticking out of the water at 50 yards. The guy was freaking out when I did it. I was like, look, man, you see those things over there? That's redfish. And I said, cut upwind and drift into him. And he made the perfect cast. He caught a nice 25-inch redfish. And it was just one of those pictures that you don't get to see too much. And, the spot redfish like that, you got to have a trained eye, I guess. But they're coming out. It's pretty amazing on the fish that's been around.
Yeah, that's good. So the reds that you're catching, are there any size to them? Any good upper slot reds?
7, 8. I caught one that was 9 pounds that I actually pulled out the Boca grips to put on because it was so fat. Yeah, but I'm killing as many slot redfish as I can right now, especially upper slots. At every marina around, I'm trying to kill as many 26 and 3/4, 26s. I'm trying to kill as many as those slots as I can.
As you can, right?
Yeah. So, and I even let them go to kill the 26s and 26 and a half.
So you let back the 18 because you're going after the 26s.
Yeah, exactly. Release all the other ones and go after 26s.
So look, we've got Rumble on the River coming up in about 3 weeks, and then Falling Tide after. The format for Rumble on the River is going to be 2 reds, slot reds from I think what we decided 22 to 27 inches. Any particular areas that you'd recommend that you're seeing down there right now with the way the river's dropping? And I think the water's probably, I would guess, getting a little bit cleaner now with the river dropping.
The water's been phenomenally clear.
Really?
Yeah, in certain areas. I mean, don't get me wrong. The closer you got to Venice with the high water, it was muddier. But your ponds are cleaning up real good. A lot of weeds have grown in certain areas of ponds and stuff. The Rumble on the River is open to Delacroix and
all of Highway 23 and all of St. Bernard Parish.
St. Bernard, yeah, that's a lot of area to cover. I would imagine that your bigger fish are going to come from Venice. If the way the river's going, I would say the bigger fish are going to come from Venice. You may be able to go over to Delacroix and get some nice fish. I'm talking about 8-pound fish. If you look at the 8-pound fish, they're going to come from areas such as Venice. I'm not saying you can't catch one further north, but if you're going to do your best opportunity, Venice would be the place to hit, especially the way the river's falling. They catching redfish now there, so.
And what kind of baits? What kind of baits are you recommending? Are you seeing the fish, using as far as artificial baits that you're seeing there?
I got a picture I sent in. I don't know if you could pull that up there. That's a Hall's HD inline spinner. That one's really, really good. It's something about the vibration on it. I don't know why. I also been using the Johnson spoon, which is Johnson, one of our club sponsors.
Yeah, that's just your overall standard spoon. It's a great spoon, catches a lot of fish.
Don't go changing. Don't go changing the wheel that's not broke is another thing. You got 1 million different types of spoons, but Johnson's been around for 110 years. Why would you even try another one? Been using some plastics set up weedless for the fishing in the weeds with the spoons and that such. I highly recommend. Look, they've been killing the spoon. They're eating crabs right now. So and they also they got a bunch of little white shrimp too that are in little bitty things, an inch or so, I would say. But the spoon has been producing day in and day out.
Are you finding them in the ponds and shallow water and deeper canals? Where are you finding them now?
Finding them in the ponds, yeah.
Okay.
Mainly in the ponds.
Even later in the morning when it starts warming up, or do you find that they'll move out?
Yeah, even in the middle of the day, man. Most of my trips have been ending by noon now.
It's hot
because of the heat. People are pretty much happy with what they've had by then. I mean, if you got 8 fish and it's 100 degrees outside and the humidity's 80 or 90 or whatever, it's time to go in anyway.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about a trip. Like, how many people can you accommodate when you go out? What do you feel comfortable with as far as, because I know you like to pay special attention to everybody out there, and how many people we normally take out as far as a group?
What I do is I got someone who helps me also. So I got another guide who's born and raised down there also. And he comes on usually when I get 4 people. Let's say I get 5, I'll bring him on just because to lend the extra hand, because to do the proper customer service,
Yeah.
And it also depends on the client, I mean, like if I took you guys, it'd be different.
I mean, I'd be good. I mean, you'd probably watch over Tyler, but I'm fine.
Yeah, well, because I'm gonna have to be pulling the weeds off his prop and stuff, and some stock, and just a mess.
Off his dead shrimp.
He's your dead shrimp. Yeah, don't laugh at dead shrimp, buddy. Don't ever leave home without that. Don't eat dead shrimp.
Look, every charter guide I've ever been on, they are going to bring the dead shrimp or the live shrimp, or they want to have. I mean, they much prefer catching them on artificial, because it's a whole lot easier. but they want to make sure the clients catch fish. And at the end of the day, if they're going to put a piece of dead shrimp on there, they're going to put a piece of dead shrimp on there.
Yeah, I'll put it on at the beginning of the day. I don't really care. It just depends on the client and ability to fish and learn how to fish. You got to start somewhere, and that's a good thing to start with.
Yeah.
You know?
So what do you charge? What are your rates for taking someone out? How long does the trip last? What do they need to bring?
Basically, you can do. Okay, let's start off with your own kayak. So you got your own kayak. You're from Arkansas. Well, you're gonna need. You bring your own equipment. And you're going to need a state fishing license. Of course, I'm going to tell you to bring something to drink. And you show up with your own equipment and go out. That's $150 a day. All right.
What is a day? How long is a day trip?
A day lasts from safe light till 12, 1 o'clock. Depends on the client and on the fish bite too. You know, I'm not one to believe in sitting there and just keep pounding on fish and injuring them. You know, that's. I'm not slamming Ride the Bull, and I understand that people, because I've done it, I do it. You know, I've done this. That you know, these people come from all over the country and they go right into the pass, and we're going to scout, and you got everybody catching the fish the days before.
Yeah,
I got sore mouths, and then even with our tournaments in the club, you know, Falling Tide, people go out. Oh man, I'm on fish. They're going to go by and they're going to go check on.
Yeah.
You might have caught that 3-pound trout that you might have needed that pound for the slam, and now he's not going to bite. You know? So that's one thing to do. But then for me, it's $200 a day, and all I ask you to bring is a fishing license and some waters to drink.
So for $200 a day, you'll provide everything, but basically the license and the drinks.
Yeah, the license and drinks. I got Penn Conflict reels. I have Temple Fork Outfitter rods, the tactical series. They all come with the Power Pro line on them. What else I got? I got every lure under the sun you could think of, you know, from top waters to the plastics and gulp and whatever you need, corks and anything you need, I got.
You also clean the fish when you get back in?
Yeah. You know, a lot of my customers want to let them go too, so we let them go. Also, you know, clean them fish, bag them up. Got an ice machine. We can get them fresh ice. They ain't got to go buy any ice or nothing like that.
Now, I remember I had some friends of mine, and we were staying down in Happy Jack at one of the camps, and you were right down the street. We were drinking some beer, and you came up and visited us. And my friend, I'm not going to mention his name. My friend's over there, and he's just butchering this trout. And I remember you just sitting there watching him and watching me. You're like, okay, I've got enough of this. And he said, you were real nice. He said, here, let me show you something. So you show him. And look, I've been fishing all my life, and I've never seen this particular technique. I've never seen this way to clean a trout, but you showed it to me, and ever since you did, I've been using it since. And I mean, it is the easiest way. Because everybody knows when you're filleting a trout and you're coming through and you catch that, I don't know, was it the air sac or something in there? The
rib cage and the air sacs.
The rib cage and the air sac, you got to literally pick up the fillet, take the fillet knife, flick it down, and go back through because you're going to hit it every time. Well, the way you showed me, and I would probably want to do a YouTube video this one day, is you flip it over on its back and you take the first cut from basically the pee hole, you know, through the bottom of the fish up to the top. You basically cut a little curve on the bottom, and then you flip
right along the backbone.
Yeah. Right on the backbone. You flip them or you fillet them. You don't have that problem. And I mean, it just speeds up the process of cleaning trout. It's incredible. And you don't get any bones, and you get just completely through that. I've been using that technique since, and it's just a great technique for cleaning trout. So I appreciate you showing me that.
Yeah.
Now, if someone wants to do sight fishing at a kayak, is that something that you can do as well and show them how to sight fish out of it?
Yeah, I can show. I mean, that's a real hard thing to do because y'all all kayak fish, and you know that. I can't tell you that we're going to get out there and the water's going to be clear, you know. But if there's opportunity leads itself, you know, we find the clear water. Yeah, of course, you can sight fish.
Yeah,
you know.
Now, what's the best time of year to fish Highway 23?
I fish 365 days a year.
Yeah. Now, red fishing. But okay, so let's talk red fishing.
October. I would say October, red October. That's why.
Yeah, red October. But you can catch redfish throughout the year down Highway 23.
Redfish for sure. Yeah, trout too. I mean, it just depends. You know, it's the river. The river has so much to do with that area, and even Grand Isle. I mean, you know, the river affects Grand Isle too, and Mardi Gras Pass and all of that, and Delacroix and everything. You know.
Oh yeah, I mean, when that river was high, we were noticing if you got a strong east wind. it was really blowing that river water. You could tell how Grand Isle would get real dirty, or you could see it being affected a good bit. What about trout fishing? What's the best time of the year to go down there to fish for trout?
That the last 2 years have been. I mean, like I'm telling you, the last 2 years have been off with the trout, I guess, because of the fresh water.
Yeah.
Best time, I would say winter time. Anywhere between October. I mean, I've caught trout on top water on Christmas Eve, if that makes any sense to you.
No, it does. It depends on how cold it gets too.
Depends on how cold it gets. Yeah. But then, we catch them in the summer too. So it does. I'd say the winter months are better for trout. I mean, the fishing down there, it's the fishing capital of the world, and there's a reason why they call it. They have so many nutrients and baits and food there for the fish that's why they have so many fish in that area.
And I know I've been out in Myrtle Grove, right there at the marina, when it gets real cold.
Yeah,
I mean, real cold, and I'm dressed up in my top to bottom in my hunting gear. I don't hunt, but my wife bought me one of those big hunting bibs to keep you warm. Been out in my kayak, and literally it's lined at the main canal right there by the camps, are just lined up with boats, and everybody's fishing a little double rag, the little tandem sparkle beetle rig. Real slow, bounce them off the bottom. The trout just line up at the bottom there. Those and some reds and drum. Real easy fishing if you can, but it's only good. That particular fishing is only good when it's really cold.
Yeah, but the thing about that Myrtle Grove spot is you got to have the northwest wind blowing 30 miles an hour, and it's got to be cold. It's got to be the worst conditions possible to catch fish right there where you're talking about.
Right there.
So
exactly.
on the worst day that you can imagine, it can be raining and blowing and everything. That's when you want to go there.
That's when you look. But when you really got the urge and you're like, God, I haven't been out. I'm tired of this weather. I really want to go fishing. You're like, oh, wait a minute. I go fish Myrtle Grove today and catch some fish.
Right.
Yeah.
And every day is different. Some days you catch a limit and some days you catch 10.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people, we get this question a lot, and I know you could probably answer this for us. Myrtle Grove, some people want to launch out of there and want to go fish down there. I mean, it's kind of a long paddle. I don't know why people do it, but they want to go fish those marshes over there. That's private property. I think a lot of people get run off from those areas. Do you know?
I haven't been run off, but then again, I don't go there during duck season too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd run you off if you came in my duck pond that I leased.
Yeah, sure. I've always heard that was a bigger problem during duck season.
What's that?
I said I've always heard that was just a bigger problem during duck season.
I mean, the guys are duck hunting down there,
That's one thing that's real popular down Highway 23 is the duck hunting, and certainly, when it's duck hunting season, you're going to want to make sure that you stay out of those little ponds where you're going to have hunters and give them the respect they need, because they only get to hunt a couple weeks out the year. We get to fish all the time, So
something else you can do is start later in the day. It's colder. Anyway,
that's true.
The fish are going to warm up. The warmer the water gets, the more fish you're going to catch.
Yeah.
Like I'll start off in open water, and then I'll move into some ponds and stuff like that during November or February when the fishing, when it is duck season or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't affect these guys.
Now, Captain Eric, as far as I know you also have lodging available if people want to come down. They need a place to stay down there, because there's not a lot of hotels unless you go all the way down to Venice, and I think there's one a little further up. But you've got some nice camps out there that you guys run out towards Happy Jack. Is that right?
Yeah, we got I'd call it 5-star. It's a lodge. It's beautiful. It's got it sleeps 12. It's $300 up to 6 people. And then it's $50 a head after that. If you want a girl to come in and cook for you, I think it's $75 a head. That's 3 meals a day. We can arrange a week trip. I got people who call me up and say, look, just set it up. We want to do it all. Everything from bay boat, bow and arrow, fly fishing, duck hunting, offshore fishing. And they come right there and they stay at the camp, and they'll stay for the whole week and just do the whole Louisiana experience. Now, these people, they're up from Michigan and stuff like that. They're from Michigan and stuff where they come in for that long, but if you wanted to spend, a day or two there, that's fine.
It's cheaper than Disney World.
Huh?
Cheaper than Disney World.
Cheaper than Disney World. Well, I don't know. If you do an offshore, it gets low. If you got a daughter, it might be cheaper. Yeah. Never mind. Yeah,
but you've got the connections. If someone wants to do something, you can set them up with.
Set them up with it.
Now last year, I know you were flashing some stuff. Do you still do it? I know you had those alligator tags.
Yeah.
Do you still do that?
I'm not doing the hunting, but that's one of the guys who's with the lodge there. Yeah, they still do it. I don't know if he's got any tags left for this year because usually they go out pretty quick. I'd have to check on it, but I think they're all sold, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
Now, do y'all do that at the kayak? Because there's a particularly troublesome gator that's been bothering me at an area I fish. He's a big one. And I've told some people about him. I said, I need to get me a tag because I need to get rid of this some bugger.
It's down Highway 23?
Yeah, he's just a 12-footer. He's at least 12. And I mean, he's come at me twice.
Come at you?
He's come at me. He's come off the bank at me in my kayak twice.
You sure he's 12 foot?
He's 12 foot, at least 12 foot.
All right. Yeah. A female will do that more than a male will.
I mean, I'd eat her too. I'd eat them both, male, female,
Yeah, most females usually only get up to 8 feet. Some do get a little bit bigger.
Oh, no, this one was bigger than my kayak. And, I'm in a 12-foot Outback. And I said, this is not good. Some of those guys know. She was out there when we were scouting for the championship a year or two ago. Last year, actually. It was out there. It's came at us. And I kept my distance because, I mean, when they come off the bank at you, it can be a little scary.
Yeah. I mean, was he coming at you, Sean, or was he just trying to get away from you?
No. He was at the bank and he came at me.
He came at you like Joe dove off and swam straight at the boat.
Right at me, yeah.
Did he came at the boat and pop his head up next to the boat?
No, I slammed it in reverse and got out of there really quick.
Oh, little skinny canal you in, huh?
Yeah, it was a skinnier canal. I mean, it wasn't too skinny. I mean, it gets you nervous though when you're going those skinny canals.
Yeah,
that they can almost grab you right off the bank like that.
Yeah, I hate when you run into them in the skinny canals. It makes you nervous.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I had a customer run into one actually, a smaller one. I'd say he was 6-7 foot last week down there, and he ran into him. We were leaving right before daylight, and we was sitting in the middle of the canal, just ran right into him. Bloop,
Yeah.
Shit out of him. It was great.
I'm going the weekend of September 7th. We're doing a charter trip offshore with Brandon Barton over there with Emerald Coast Kayak. We try to catch some mahi and stuff. And I'm nervous about sharks. And I was sitting there. I was driving today across the lake, and I'm sitting there thinking. I said, "Man, which gets me more nervous, the gators or the sharks?" And I said, "I haven't yet to see a shark while I'm in a kayak. Although I'm more afraid of the sharks than I am in the gators, and I guess it's because I see the gators all the time. Although they still get me nervous."
Yeah, I think I'd be more concerned about the sharks. I've seen sharks eat big giant tuna right on side the boat with big giant jaws.
Yeah.
Big giant jaws. Big giant jaws. Big mako coming up, eating a fish on the side of the kayak's not going to be fun. I had a giant one in Caminado with Danny Ray eat a catfish and freaked me out. He was about 10, 12 foot bull shark.
You hear sharks, going after surfboards and stuff, and so I think, man, a kayak looks a little similar to that. But you never hear gators going after kayaks in the marsh, really. I mean,
you don't. They go after dogs in Disney World and people and stuff, but kayaks apparently you're safe. Eric, there's actually, speaking of sharks, there's actually a great picture I think you caught. You had was it a spinner shark?
Yeah, that was doing the IFA down there in Caminado Pass. When I think that Brandon Barton actually snagged that off of the, what is that, the Hobie or the Hobie? No, the Hobie. They do the IFA show. The Hobie TV show, whatever it is they do. They did the IFA program or whatever. Yeah, that was I'd say that was a 7-foot shark behind me.
It came out the water though. I mean, it was a great picture.
He's crazy high, huh?
Crazy high. That's a really cool picture.
Yeah, he jumped 3 times. Every time he'd come down, I'd get a little bit wetter, and I kept pedaling as fast as I could. But he was coming in the boat. That was for sure. I was moving. Now
look, I've seen you and Chris Holmes do this whenever that river gets real high. Y'all go out and y'all go target these just big river cats.
Yeah.
And I saw, I think it was this year or last year, your kayak was barely floating. Y'all had so many catfish, big catfish just loaded down in the back of that kayak.
Yeah, that was only 10 fish, actually.
That was a lot of fish, though. It was a lot of 10 fish.
10 fish, we estimated it to be anywhere between 350 and 400 pounds.
Yeah.
In the back of that Hobie.
Is that something, if someone said, hey, Eric, I want to go do one of these trips, is that something you would do? You take somebody out, or is that something you kind of do?
Just because of the river, I wouldn't take somebody in the river.
Yeah.
To do it. And it's nothing personal, and I know about the river, and I'm
it's
not
dangerous.
taking anybody. It's dangerous, yeah. And
dangerous. Yeah.
I'd rather not have somebody's life at that. And, I'd be cautious of who I took, even if they were an experienced kayak fisherman, because me and Chris have been fishing long enough together that we kind of, read each other and know what's going on. But, because your life, you fall overboard, your life is in my hands when it comes to the river.
Sure.
I'm going to have to get to you somehow, to do something, so you gotta, it's serious business. It's not just like go put the kayak in the river. And people do it, and they do it all the time. They put $100 kayaks in the river, and you can, and there's nothing wrong with the $100 kayak. Just maybe the river isn't the right place to put it. No,
you're right.
Let's clarify that. The Mississippi River.
Yeah. Yeah. One last thing I know, and I tell you what, huge fan of Robert Shaw and Jaws. I thought his character was, it's probably one of the top 10 characters for me in all of film. When he's on the boat and they're fishing and he's drinking some beers and, they're doing the tattoos, and showing the tattoos and the Indianapolis and everything. You dressed up as him for Halloween, I think, recently, right? Was it Halloween? Mardi Gras. Yeah. And Tyler, I don't know if we had that picture or not. I don't know if I told you to pull it.
I wish I did.
I'm telling you,
it's on the Facebook Louisiana Kayak Company.
Was spot on. If you put those pictures side by side, I couldn't have told you which one was Robert Shaw in Jaws. I couldn't have told you which one was Quentin Jaws because you look so much like him.
Yeah, we actually went and seen the Jaws in the water down in Pensacola. I suggest everybody do that. It was really a good time, and that's why we did it. We won a contest.
Really?
Actually, down there, yeah. Taffy, she had a fake arm that Chris Holmes had, and because Chris and Vicky kind of turned us on to it. And
is that when y'all go watch it in the water? Watch the movie?
Go watch the movie in the water. Yeah.
At nighttime.
We had the fake arm. Me
and screw that.
And then Brody was dressed up like Sheriff Brody, of course, King Brody. Yeah. So we won a $50 gift certificate to the restaurant a restaurant/bar that holds the movie thing. So it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, look, so if people want to book a trip with you or want to get some more information or contact you about any of the things down there in Plaquemines Parish, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, let's iterate something too real quick. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. As far as my sponsorship goes with the club, if someone signs up, okay, so it costs $25 to sign up for the club, right?
Yep.
Well, that's $25 off if they go fishing with me. Off of the price of $200, so it'd be $175 instead of $200. So that way you could kill two birds with one stone. So when somebody calls me and say, "Hey, I'm a member of the club. I just signed up." I call up one of you guys. Is he a member? Yeah, he's a member. Okay, cool. Boom, I know it. And then we go from there. But that's the real reason why I did it, is not only to promote myself, but to promote the club and to bring in more members.
Absolutely.
I don't know. There's a guy, Jared Mark here commenting, and I know he said Eric to check your Facebook messages when you get off here. I think he's maybe interested in booking a trip.
Cool.
I don't know if he's a member or not, but
was that the guy who just signed up today? I think was that the guy that just came on onto the club today? Because I think there was a new guy who came on. I told him, I said, "Hey man, make sure to check us out tonight. We'll be talking about fishing Highway 23. If you've never fished the area and you want to learn the area, learn launches and stuff. Captain Eric's been fishing out here all his life. He can kind of show you around, show you where to fish, maybe where not to fish." Because there's certain areas that look, man, you look at them on a map and say, man, it looks like a great place to launch. Oh, you can't launch over there. I mean, some of these pumping stations are out of bounds. You don't want to get towed. You don't want to be out in an area where you can't fish. I know, Eric, you're always, willing to help people out and show them.
Yeah.
You take them out there, you teach them the area, teach them how to fish. Because fishing 23 is a little bit different sometimes than fishing Reggio or Delacroix or even Grand Isle, different baits, different techniques, different areas. So, but that's really good with the 10% discount, basically, or $25 off a fishing trip, $175. You get so much information, you use it the rest of your life. It's a really good deal. It's a good time too. I mean, I hate fishing alone. Getting to fish with someone like you and telling stories and everything, it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
And you're a Hobie team member as well. You're Hobie Pro staff, right?
Hobie team member. I'm a Pugilist team member, Pugilist Sporting Goods team member, Massey's team member.
Sponsor. Yep.
They're our sponsor, right? Pugilist,
I think Massey's does the fish picks, and Puglia's always provides a lot of good gift cards, a lot of prizes for Paddlepalooza and Fallen Tide.
Been sponsored by those guys for years.
Yeah, so
they're great.
Louisiana Kayak Company, they want to get in touch with you. What's the best way to get in touch with Eric?
Best way to get in touch with me is to call my phone, 504-313-8292. Or you can find me on Instagram at the Louisiana Kayak Company. Also Facebook, the Louisiana Kayak Company. Or you can get in touch with me through the Don Dubuque Outdoors Show.
Absolutely. That's something I forgot to mention. You come on
this
Saturdays, right?
Yeah. I'm on. It's me and Brendan. I'm on this Saturday, and Brendan Bayard will be on the following Saturday.
Yeah.
We switch back and forth.
Nothing but lies. Nothing but lies.
Maybe not on my Saturday.
So what time do y'all normally come on Don Dubuque in the morning?
We're at 6:20 a.m.
6:20 a.m. And that's is that
Don Dubuque Outdoors?
That's the puddle. What does he call it?
The paddlers. The peddlers report.
The peddlers.
The peddlers report, not the paddles.
I'll probably when I'm up on Saturday mornings, I listen to you guys, and I always say, "So what lie am I going to hear today?"
What lie?
I'm scrolling with you guys. I
know.
Listening to it. I always hope I don't miss it. It's good to hear with that Don Dubuque in the morning. There's nothing like it when you drive it down in the morning. Too bad it's not on Wednesdays, because I'm actually going fishing tomorrow. I'm going down 23 actually. Just not sure where I'm going. Yeah. So I got the day off of work, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna go out tomorrow and start doing a little scouting and see what I can find. Maybe see if I can find some clean water. And
a little early for that, Sean.
Yeah,
a little early for that, but go out and go fishing. Have a good time.
I'm gonna go look. I just haven't been in a couple weeks, and I got the urge. I need to go. They got
plenty of fish, man. I'm telling you. If you don't get on the trout in the morning, just fall back in the ponds. For sure.
I think I'm going strictly for redfish. I want to go find some backs. And I love trout fishing. But August, I'm going to try to go focus on the redfish, because we got Rumble coming up. Maybe break in some new baits and kind of do some exploring and see what I can find. Yeah. I'm sure Tyler's going to be texting me all throughout the morning, because I'm going to be sending him pictures of those bronze backs.
Yeah, just use the spoon and keep it simple. The spoon. You ain't got to try all these new fancy things. It works. Stick to the spoon.
Yeah, I keep looking at your hat. It almost looks like just to clarify for people out there, that's not an A and it's not red. That is not an Alabama hat. That is a Hobie hat.
Lord.
It looks like an A sometimes, and it's red. So for those people out there, he's not an Alabama fan.
No. Go Tigers.
I know you're black and gold too.
Yeah, who that, baby? What you talking about?
Todd Lewis wants to know, what's your favorite flounder technique?
What's that?
Wait, who said that?
Todd Lewis wants to know, what is your favorite flounder technique?
Well, I like to take a spoon and put a inline spinner on the front of it and drag it along the bottom real slow. Now, favorite flounder technique, cockahoe minnows on the bottom.
That's the truth. I tell you, a lot of people do that.
And good luck. I mean, flounders actually have been coming around a little bit. I'm not writing home about it, but they've caught a few.
The flounder fishing this year down Highway 1, especially in Grand Isle, has been phenomenal. It's been the best that I can remember in a long time.
Yeah, I've seen a few pictures. I haven't been able to get down that way to destroy any, but I don't know, man. Flounder's kind of a fish. This is lucky for me. I catch them, but I haven't caught one in a while, because I'm mainly going after redfish. That's what people.
No, yeah, I mean, say, hey, let's go target flounder. I mean, shit, okay, we might not catch one.
I'll take you to target. Yeah, I'll take you to target anything you want. I can't guarantee anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
except maybe hardheads in the summer.
Huh?
Except maybe hardheads in the summer.
Yeah, I got a good spot for them actually. Yeah, waiting for somebody to do that.
I was talking to Eric Stacy last night.
Oh yeah.
And he was telling me that basically he taught you everything you know. He said,
he is the best.
I remember when Eric was just, so tall, and I used to take him out, and I was
shorter than he was.
Yeah. I'm digging on Eric because he missed the podcast tonight, and he really wanted to watch it because he knew you were going to be on. And I said, "Well, look, Eric's going to be." He said, "Oh, yeah," but he was working late, so he's going to catch it on the reruns on the syndication.
Yeah, this is on what is on YouTube.
Tyler, we're on YouTube and we're on
Google, right?
Yeah, podcasts. So Apple Podcasts, Google
Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and I think what Tyler's doing, because he's got the whole new website, redone. The forum's running real fast now. Everything's looking real good. He's gonna put all of our episodes at some point when he has time into our new Facebook, not our Facebook, but into our new website. Yes. So it'll be very easily accessible, and people can go in there and just go through it. I think this is like episode 17 or 18, Tyler?
18.
18. I mean, we're shit, man. This is like almost like a whole full season of like Friends or something.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Good job, Tyler, on all that stuff too. I know that's a lot of your time put into this. So a lot of people may not realize. I mean, I'm not a computer guy, but I know that it takes plenty of time to do what you've been doing with the computers and the podcast. You know what? Today you on the phone with me rigging up the Zoom thing.
Yeah.
Where I could do it. So that was an extra 30 minutes of your time. Everybody ought to tell Tyler thank you if you get to see him. Sean,
I thank him every day. I send him a thank you every morning. Usually it's a picture of me in bed, just kind of waving at him. Hey,
that's Tyler, not the kind of thank yous I appreciate.
I did get a question here online. It is directed to you from Eric Stacy. He's asking, is Kinley waving at Tyler to sign off?
No, she's not.
So I don't know what that means, but Eric wanted me to ask you that. He's just looking at the text message now, so I thought I'd ask the question. So anyway, so Tyler's face is redder than my glass of wine right now. Anyway, so look, Captain Eric, we really appreciate you having you on. I know we've been talking about going fishing for a while, and we're going to set up something soon. Maybe when it starts getting a little cooler. I know Tyler and I were both talking about wanting to go out with you and maybe fishing down Highway 23. I've never actually fished Venice, and I've wanted somebody to take me for a while to show me kind of where to launch, where to go down there, as far as getting into the wagon wheel and things like that. So maybe we could set up a trip one day where you take me out and kind of teach me around that area.
Sounds good. You know the number. You know how to find me.
I know how to find you. I do. I know how to find you. So I just go to my nearest bar and look for something with some strange beers, and Captain Eric's going to be in there maybe eating something and drinking a cold one. Yeah, so, look, we appreciate you coming on. Terry, Pham, we appreciate you coming on. Tyler, thanks again for filling us in on all the new things coming out. We will be back 2 weeks from Tuesday, which will put us, I think we're coming on the Tuesday before the IFA Championship. September 10th, yes. So that'll be the Tuesday before the IFA Championship, which is going to take place. I think it's the 13th and the 14th down in Grand Isle. Hopefully we'll have somebody on to come talk about that, get a little bit more information about that. I know there's a number of anglers. Fortunately, it's going to be in Louisiana again this year. So really interested to see how that plays out. I'm actually going to get the opportunity to fish it as of right now. So it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And going to see a lot of my Florida friends, my Alabama friends coming in town to fish it. And then I know a lot of those guys will be back down again for hopefully Fall and Tide and definitely the championship in November. So thanks again to everyone tonight for coming on. And we will see you 2 weeks on September 10th. So thank you guys.
All right. Later.
All right.